Okay, so this is our first networking Zoom for the Homeschool Moms in Business group, and this Zoom is exclusive to the members of this group. And every week, we will be having a Zoom networking meeting where we can learn more about each other. You can introduce yourself to the group and talk about your business. And so it's not going to be the same every week as far as like, well, the same people and all that stuff, but we would love for you to join us each week. And every week there will be obviously new people in here and new opportunities to connect. Like you never know when your business might need something from somebody else, right? Or vice versa, or you say something that like resonates with someone else, and then so they kind of message you and say, hey, I would love to learn more about your business or whatever. That's what we're trying to provide here, is that networking opportunity that you would sort of get in BNIs, but we're not doing a BNI. And obviously we're homeschool moms, so those a lot of times are not they're out of the question for us, right? Like
Right.
time wise, schedule wise, money wise, all of that stuff. So this is our sort of our BNI for our group. And so we'll go around the room and sort of talk about what each one of you do. Just tell us about yourself, whatever you want us to know, and talk about your business. So Christy, we'll start with you because you kind of jumped in here first. So let's go ahead.
Right. So my name is Christy Steebleton, and I am a podcast manager. I have a work from home business where I launch, edit, produce podcasts for different industries. And most of the industries that I work for are Christian women running their own businesses. And so it is more of a business podcasting business than it is a hobby podcasting business. Those are the two different kind of types of podcasts that you'll find. I started in 2019 after about 10 years as a virtual assistant. I had come out of advertising in New York City. I had worked for 15 years as an executive assistant, and I had started my family with my husband. And I decided that I wanted to do something that kind of already used the skills that I had working in a corporate setting, but from home, so that I could still be home for my stepsons. We had full custody, and business was not really an option when I was also trying to raise kids that were recovering from divorce. So I said, virtual assisting. Here's the internet. This is an exciting place to be. And I started helping a bunch of different people. One of my clients was also a really good friend. She had a very successful education blog, and she is now still a very successful homeschool speaker and blogger. And she said, hey, I've got this podcast. Would you like to learn how to run it? Because I need someone to take it over. And I said, sure, that sounds fascinating to me. And so I learned a little bit about the podcasting business, and I fell in love with the industry, and I fell in love with the work. And I said, do you think I could do this like as a gig? Could this be my next big gig? And she said, absolutely. You've just got a knack with people. You're able to organize. You're like terrific. Go full force. And so I started learning as much as I could about podcasting. And I went for a little bit of training in some of the areas that I was softer in. And I finally hung out my shingle just before COVID and started taking on new clients. And it has been a wonderful experience for me, because for the first time in my life, I not only work for myself, but I also get to decide who I take on as clients. And I think that that's been the biggest benefit for me as a homeschooler, to be able to say, I will only work with Christians. I will only do this kind of work. And I will only speak with people who also run their business on biblical principles. And it's been really just so wonderful. I have one 17-year-old daughter, and she is entering her last year of high school, and it's a little bit bittersweet because she was my homeschool baby. I had two boys prior to her from my husband, and they both went to public school, and I kind of got trial by fire. We pulled my youngest son out to homeschool his last year of high school. And so I did homeschooling high school first, and then I started with the baby and moved her through homeschooling. But she will graduate either the spring or possibly next fall, depending on how she's maturing. But it's been just wonderful to be able to make my own hours, do the work that I love, help Christian entrepreneurs, because there's so much about podcasting that a lot of people don't know. And I just love it. I couldn't be happier, and I could do this and talk about it all the time.
Wow. I don't know a lot about podcasting. I mean, I've listened to a few podcasts, but I'm not very familiar with that industry. So that's super interesting that you do that. So I would love to talk to you about
Oh,
it.
sure. I am available if anybody would like to. I offer a 20-minute free discovery call, and a lot of times people book a call with me and I'll just talk to them about podcasting and give them ideas on whether or not it really is well suited to the industry that you're coming from, and whether or not you're ready to do podcasting, because a lot of people are very interested in podcasting and they have a message to share. Especially ministries have the message of Jesus. So
Mhm.
it's very much an important thing. But whether or not it's something that suits your business well is really something you want to drill down with someone who will talk to you honestly. I have only a part-time business right now while my daughter is still in school. So I'm very limited in the number of clients that I take. And that's why I offer the 20-minute discovery call, because you get to pick my brain a little bit for 20 minutes, and then you get to make the decision on whether or not you really want to move forward. You can do podcasting yourself. I learned how to do it. Anyone can learn how to do it. That's not the point of the call. The call is to say, is it right for you? Let's think about that. And I feel almost like it's an obligation as a sister in Christ to say, hey, this is what I'm blessed with. The Lord has given me this ability. Let's just see if it's going to work for you. And I have told people, I don't think you're ready for this. I don't know that it suits your business. Um, I won't take you on as a client unless you think you're really committed to this. And they've gone and waited. And then when they were ready, they came back, and I wasn't able to take clients, but I found the right person for them. So I also build a network of other podcast managers and producers. I just referred a fantastic Christian lady who wants to start her fitness podcast. And I'm not taking clients. So I talked to her and I matched her up with someone who does fitness podcasts and is a believer. And that to me is almost like solid gold, that I'm able to do this, and it builds me up because I'm doing what God's told me to do, which is to make this easier for other people in Christ. So anyway, the long story short there is I do have a free discovery call. It's 20 minutes. You can book that at Christy Podcasting. I'm on Instagram for Christy Podcasting, and that's Christy Podcasting. And you can book a call and just talk to me for 20 minutes. No obligation.
Okay, well, great. And we can post that as well. Or if you want to put the link in the
Yeah,
chat, and then we can
sure.
also post it in our group. Okay, Carrie, your
Oh,
turn.
thank you, Christy. That's fantastic. We have a lot in common, and
Oh, do we, Carrie?
yeah, I got two boys, and then my girl, that I'm finishing up, and it is very bittersweet. And in my mind, I know, I hope that this would never end. I just love this whole journey. So I encourage, not to say that, and we all know this, homeschooling is not always easy. It's just rewarding, so rewarding. So yeah, we have a little bit in common there. And I love what you do. I've toyed with the idea of having a podcast and just never carved out the time to do that. So that's fantastic that you turned it into a business from home. Wow, good for you. Good for you. It's under that, well, for me, it was under that necessity of needing to find employment and not wanting to give up the thing that I loved was where my business is birthed out of. Before kids came along, I always taught piano was my thing. I could uh, work from home. I could work from a studio, and I loved it. I loved that world. And as soon as my baby started coming along, well, I didn't want to be tied up with time either from them. So gradually, I didn't need to. And then my husband was he had really good employment. So for many years, I didn't need to work outside of the home. I didn't need to bring in an income outside of the home. And then one day all of that changed. And I was faced with having to, okay, we've got a good thing going on here. I'm loving this homeschooling. I've got two boys and a little baby girl, and I don't want to give this up for anything. And so, it's kind of like that mama bear inside of me started to rise up. And what am I going to do so I can keep this? And so I was looking and looking and really, okay, am I really going to go away to work and have to put my kids in school? No. So what opportunity is there? And I really feel the Lord brought along an opportunity with a hair care company that I hadn't heard of before. I was really careful with my ingredients. I was very specific. I would read every single, label, to read what's on the back of that label before I would use it on my own person. And of course, bring it into my home for my family. And then my girlfriend had a shampoo party. I wanted to support her, so I went over there and read the label and supported her in her business. And then I thought, what if she can do this and she's going to earn income from home? Maybe this is what I can do too. And so I went home and I talked to my husband, and I really thought that he was just going to go, no, like this is not what I really thought it was going to be a negative response. And he says, yeah, I think you should do it. Like, you're kidding me, really? Okay, so here we go, full steam ahead. Never really done anything like this before. I was raised in an entrepreneurial family, so I had a lot of skills that were just put away in that department, you might say. Brought those out from my mom largely, and started sharing what I knew how to share, and I could work it around my kids and get together with moms for play dates and share hair products, help moms with their hair products. So 7 years later, I still do that. Love that. Love the community and the flexibility. I never needed to go back to work. I never needed to find work outside of that. In fact, I did pick up piano teaching a bit, and it replaced that income. So I didn't need to do both anymore. I was able to just focus on helping women with their hair. So that's my first business that I do. And then through this endeavor of moving countries. So I'm from Canada, Alberta, Canada, following my husband's passion and his dream of not ever wanting to do electrical anymore and wanting to come to the United States and pursue. He's a hot rodder at heart. He's got a pedal bike company. He's done this hobby business on the side, but in Alberta, you can only do it for 3 months of the year because of the weather, and that's in his pedal bike company. So he has these custom cruiser pedal bikes, and honey, Florida, I could do this 12 months of the year. I don't have to do it just 3 months of the year. So yes, we're here now in Florida, and all three kids, 26, 22, and 17, and two Doberman dogs came along for the ride. And but before we left, of course, concerned that my husband's leaving his employment, and it takes a while to get another business started, and you have to invest and things like that. My girlfriend, who lives in Florida, came into my world again just at that time, which is amazing how that even happened. And she shared with me this business opportunity. COVID restrictions were really high in Canada, particularly where we lived. It was really strong. Doors were closed, and a lot of people were at home, unhappily at home. And this technology I became aware of deactivates the COVID virus in 60 seconds. Does it airborne and does it on surfaces? And I thought, wow, and it's chemical free. Remember, I'm a label reader, right? I want to make sure that everything is non-toxic. It's chemical free. It eliminates that virus. It's got FDA clearance. It's cleared as an FDA medical lab device, class 2 medical device. It's got all sorts of testing that's been done on it by military grade testing, and it's NASA certified. I thought, wow, okay, with all of that background, it was originally used for the astronauts, and they brought it here for us to use in homes and businesses and schools and things. Like, this is a huge opportunity to help people with, and we could use it as an income for us as we're traveling and transitioning to a new country. So coming to Florida, becoming aware of all kinds of airborne issues from not only the COVID virus and viruses in general, but mold and mildew and bacteria and things that I've been able to help families with. I've been doing a lot of networking meetings and nobody's heard about it yet. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta be that spokesperson to say that there is an answer to help people with. And I mean, even in our own home, allergies was came on the scene when we moved to Florida, and to be able to take care of my own family's issues with, there's a lot of pollens in Florida compared to when you live in a country that has snow 8 to 9 to 10 months of the year. It's different here. So it helped with that right away. So helping families, helping people. One person got off their CPAP, helping families with just protecting them in their space and giving them that peace of mind. So that is the two business hats that I wear here. Through that process, I also got certified as a John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer. So I do some training for entrepreneurs every month in a group, and lightly do that on the side. So I like to wear a few hats. It keeps me keeps me on the adventure, you might say. And my daughter is also now part of our education with homeschooling, is she got certified too. So she took the John Maxwell training, which has been fantastic for her. She got to be part of the board of advisors for the youth programs there as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and where we're at right now. We're in Florida, learning the land, learning the weather, and finding our way into a new life here. So grateful to find this group. Daphne, thank you for creating
Oh,
this
thank you so much. Yeah.
in here and joining in today. It's fantastic to be here.
Yeah. Well, so tell us the company that you do, the hair company, and then also the device, is
Yeah,
it an
yeah,
air type device or whatever? Yeah, you can talk about all of that so we can.
a little bit more about that. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's Monate Anti-Aging Hair Care. If you've heard of Monate before, stands for Modern Nature. So it means that it's taken all the stuff out of it. That was the thing that I was concerned about. So you don't have any parabens. There's no SLS, DEA, MEA. If you're a label reader like me, you're concerned about the things that it doesn't have in it, but it has a lot of botanicals in it. Beautiful. We have over 40 different hair types. So what I do is a consultation to find out what your hair type is, what type of concerns you have with your hair, and then what your goals are with it. We also have a really beautiful skincare line and some really great wellness products too. So it kind of gives you the whole beauty package in one. So you can find my hair quiz if you go to my site, locksofgold.com. You can find my hair quiz on there. Take the whole thing if you like, the hair and the skincare and the wellness. You can find me there. You can also message me through that as well. The technology business that I have is called Active Pure. Well, Active Pure, our website is mypalmaire.com. Palm like palm trees in Florida, mypalmaire.com. Active Pure is the name of the technology. So get this, that same technology that is in our air purification unit does a 2,000 square foot home. You just literally plug it into the wall and it starts to send out molecules into the air. Works like popcorn does when you're making popcorn. That smell permeates throughout the entire house. That's what this technology is doing. It's sending out submicroscopic particles into the air. It finds that virus, the mold, bacteria, allergens, VOCs, and it deactivates it airborne. The COVID virus, like I mentioned, it gets it in 60 seconds. It deactivates it so you don't have to breathe it in. That same technology that's in our air purification unit, they also put it into a laundry unit. So it means those same molecules are working to scrub and clean your clothes instead of detergent. So it's a device about this big. You attach it above your washing machine. You literally hook up the cold water tap like your garden hose to your washing machine, and you no longer have to use detergent. You use cold water. You use this technology. It means your clothes are going to have less lint because you don't have the abrasion of the detergent, and you don't have the residue of the detergent then going onto your skin. You think of your towels, how you're rubbing those residues over your body. So people with allergies, it's really important. This one is a really good one for that. But even the economic factor of the savings that you're going to get on long term, is pretty cool. That technology just runs with just water. Press a button and it flows through it. So we take care of the air you breathe. We also have a water purification unit. That means you're drinking alkaline water, microclustered water, so it hydrates you to the nucleus of your cell. So it's truly hydrating you. I do women's health talks with a health practitioner every Wednesday. If anybody wants to pop on that half-hour call, we take different topics on from candida to mold toxicity to heart health. Yesterday it was eco-certifying your home, talking about the water that you're drinking. And so yeah, we do healthy home showcases. So anybody that wants to host a healthy home showcase, maybe eco-certify your own home, taking care of the air, the water, your laundry, and you want to share that with friends, we actually give away up to $6,000 of technology. So you can get for free, depending upon how the results of your home showcase goes. So I'm available to do that for anybody that wants to get a few friends together and see if you can get some technology for free as well.
Wow, that sounds really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's I said the same thing when I first heard about it. I was like, wow, really? It does all that. So yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. No, a lot of that resonates with me. I'm sort of a crunchy mom. I didn't label this group crunchy, but I'm sort of a crunchy mom.
We found you.
So I home birthed my children and cloth diapered my girls and and all that kind of stuff. So I sort of get all that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so a little bit about me. So I'm Daphne and I am in Texas, and is exact opposite of Canada, Carrie. We have about 10 months of summer, and then like maybe 2 months of like what can be considered a winter, but more like a spring or something. And it just goes back into being hot. And so and we don't get very much precipitation. It's sort of like the desert where I'm at in South Texas. There are other parts of Texas is huge. So there's other parts of Texas that get rain, but I'm not in one of those. And I started well, a little bit about my background. So we have four children. Me and my husband have been married 20 years. We celebrated our 20 years this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And we have four children. So my oldest is 16. Then I have an 11-year-old, a 7-year-old. She's fixing to be 8, and then a just turned 4-year-old. So they're almost all 4 years apart. And we're done. So, because I've usually had a baby every 4 years since the first one, and everybody's like, "Is there?" And I'm like, "No, we're done. We're good." We're in a different where we've entered a different season in our life too. So, our main focus has been our business over this last season and everything. So, I've homeschooled from the very beginning. When my son was a baby, I knew I would homeschool, and so we started him. He was about 4 when I started him homeschooling. He was an only child, and he was also very bright. He's very, very intelligent. He started reading when he was like 18 months old, and he did baby sign and all that stuff. So we started him really early, and because he was bored. And so it was really like schooling him kind of came naturally, and then when you're doing the preschool and kindergarten stuff, that stuff is great, right? And so he's 16 now. He just entered his senior year. And he is in school with Liberty University online. So he's been doing school with them since for the last 3 years. So his high school, almost most of his high school. And we love it. That also gave me the ability to like kind of put him over here and then work with my girls, because I do classical education. So more of a Charlotte Mason style. With the run, I sort of did that with him as well. So transitioning him into like a computer and online and teachers and projects and, writing assignments, I felt like that he was at the age where that was really good for him, and mommy could sort of move on to the girls and so I homeschool my two middle ones, and then the youngest one is not in school yet, and I'm totally okay with that at this point. So she will start next year, and so he'll be graduated, and then I'm starting one in kindergarten, right? So I'll be homeschooling for a really long time. So that's part of who I am, is just a homeschool mom. That's become part of like second nature to me. Like it just sort of flows in with our daily lives, and our year and our schedules, and everything sort of flows around that. And I'm very passionate about helping other homeschool moms that are also in business, because I feel like when you're in business, that is a monster all by itself, and then you add to it the homeschooling aspect, no matter what age your kids are, and it's like, if you're not in the right frame of mind, it can feel really overwhelming, and also feel like you don't have the same advantages that everybody else that is in business has, right? When you're homeschooling and your kids are important, their education's important, and you're really kind of passionate about that as well, but you're passionate about your business and you want to make money and you're trying to contribute to the family finances, then you feel like you're at a disadvantage because of the kids. And so I wanted to sort of change that that thought process, or even just that dynamic of how homeschool moms are treated, or how they visualize themselves, in other words. Absolutely. So that's why I started this group in particular. But my background is I started off building websites and writing online in 2000,
right.
2000, when I was young and not married. And then it just sort of grew from there. And then I got hooked up I became a staff writer for a local Christian magazine, and all that kind of stuff. And then I got out of that whole scene when I started having babies, and then the babies became my life, and everything was just about diapers and Caillou and snacks and anti-vax stuff and everything, so it was like your whole life changes,
It sure does.
And so then my husband started a business in 2009. And so he left his job, and we started our business doing heavy equipment and commercial truck repair. So he's in that field. He's a diesel technician. And we're obviously in South Texas. And so when the Lord sort of led us to open up our business, it was right before the oil field boom in South Texas area. So we had been in business approximately 6 to 9 months, and then it hit here. Wow. And then all these people came in from, Canada and all these northern places that were just like flooding the South Texas area for fracking and oil and everything. Well, we were minorly established. And so we just thrived, we grew. And during that time is when I picked up on marketing. So I realized that our business needed to compete a little bit. We were just a simple, one-man show, one truck type of thing. My husband does mobile service. So he goes out into the locations where these big machines are broken down and repairs them. And anyways, we wanted to sort of step up our game. So I started doing our marketing. I built our website and started doing our marketing, and then took some classes on how to sort of rank that on Google, and I started doing lead generation, and then it led into all this other stuff. But the thing was with that is that at the time we couldn't really afford any marketing. There was no way. We were doing great to pay our bills and pay the mortgage and all that stuff. And so if somebody would have told me in 2009 that we would have had to pay about $20,000 a year for marketing, we would have had a heart attack. There was no way. And I feel like that's where most small business owners start out, right? Mm-hmm. And because I was able to do this for ourselves, building a website, ranking our site, we started to get calls from larger companies that were coming into the area that were finding us. And we'd always ask them, where did you hear about us? And they say, well, we found you on Google. Most 9 times out of 10, they'd find us on Google. Well, we were ranked #1 in our, area. And so my husband's like, you did it again, And so our business grew during that time and expanded. And we, of course, added to the family, and we added onto our home and, all these, things. Well, when COVID hit, everything just like pulled back and everybody left the area. Long story short, like the oil field just tanked in Texas. And so we were like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? And we held on because we've lived here all of our lives and we're natives and, you know, we have a home here that we built and my children were born here. And so that was like not an option for us to give that up because we had always envisioned passing our home down to them and everything. That was super important for us. And so, we relocated the business out of state to Tennessee, where we have friends and family, and they are thriving over there with construction and everything. So anyways, all that to say, we spent the last year traveling back and forth between Texas and Tennessee. So now me and the kids are kind of relocated back home and my husband's doing all the traveling. And then that's kind of the way it's going to stay for now until he kind of pushes the business into more of a management position and things like that. And he can get people under him. But things are going really well for his business that way. But in the interim, since 2016 to now, I've built websites for small businesses and I help small businesses with their marketing. And then about 2 years ago, starting around COVID, is when I started to have an idea for coaching. And I built a course for small business owners to learn how to do a lot of this themselves and save a ton of money. And a lot of them are just, they don't need to learn to do this for everybody, right? They just want to be able to do this for themselves, for their own business, right? Or their family owned business. And I realized there was a lot of businesses like ours that were just, you know, family owned. You know, the husband worked the business. Well, it could be any service-based business pretty much, you know, even, hairstylists or a landscaping company or, whatever. This model works really well for us. So teaching small business owners how to build their own site very simply, not using, crazy stuff, but also teaching them tactics on SEO, like on-page SEO, off-page SEO, and not it be overwhelming, right? Because nobody wants, they're not trying to learn a whole other business. Like, I don't want to be a web developer and SEO specialist. Like, everybody just wants very simple, like, just tell me what to do and I'll do that. And that's sort of what I've done, is kind of develop that 5-step program where people can just come in and get what they need done and be like, oh, aha, light bulb. That's how they're ranking so well, because it's not rocket science, it's literally just steps,
Right.
And so if you do all the steps, and then the thing is, small business owners don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of times they're the ones that are struggling, and you've got these larger companies that have bigger budgets and they're able to throw all this money at their business. And they're the ones that are kind of, have the market cornered online, And the thing is, your business has to, it's 2022. You have to compete online. Nobody looks at yellow pages or thumbs through a phone book anymore or any of that stuff. And if you're a service-based business, most of the time people are trying to find you on their phone, so if you're, in a situation where you're broke down on the side of the road, you're going to call a tow truck from your phone, you're not going to go to Facebook and ask your friends and, and all that kind of stuff. So having a website and Google and ranking in Google is still very important, despite, a lot of the social media stuff that works well in a lot of industries, but not every industry. And I feel like a lot of the mom and pops and service-based industries probably don't understand that. They're, you talk to some businesses and they're like, well, we have a Facebook page. And we're like, but nobody's finding you on Facebook when they need you. So that's what I help business owners understand. And so for the last 2 years, I've been doing that and homeschooling as well. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a homesteader. Obviously, we have, a home here in Texas, and we have acreage, and I have chickens, and, we've had animals at various points in time. And I can, for the fun of it, not because I have to, but just because I enjoy that, and do organic gardening and, and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I'm an outdoors person. I love hunting and fishing, and, my husband bought a camper recently, so we're looking forward to RVing and that kind of thing. And we love going to the beach and just being outside. So that's who I am. That's what I do. And that's just a little bit about me. And then, like I said, our goal for this group, and Jennifer's not on here today, but Jennifer is from another group. And her and I sort of partnered in on this group because we really felt like homeschool moms are like overlooked in business. You're either in a business group or you're just
Yeah.
in a mommy group,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to join that in,
Yeah.
together, and find people that are just like you, that are passionate about their families, right? And their family is priority, and their family, their children are priority, their education and all of that. But also business savvy and very, homeschool moms are, to me, some of the most resourceful people that you'll ever meet.
Absolutely.
I mean, we know
Absolutely.
how
Yeah.
to get things done. We know how to find
How to
certain.
find things. Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's what we wanted to fill this group with, is a bunch of homeschool moms in business, because that, to me, that's taking it another level. When you're a homeschool mom and you run a business, you've taken it to another level. You're not just a business owner, and you're not just a part of another mommy group, because if I was just a homeschool mom, I feel like my life would be like so easy. And I'm not saying homeschooling's easy,
But it's true.
one or the other, right? But when you're
Right.
trying to do both, it's like, yeah.
It's
So
madness.
it's a whole different dynamic. And
Yeah.
I feel like homeschool moms in business are some of the smartest people on the planet. And like I said, some of the most resourceful. Like, we will find something. If we don't know it as a homeschool mom, we will find
We'll
it.
find it. Mhm. Oh, yeah.
We will find the
Oh, yeah.
information, so
Oh,
and
yeah.
that goes for business too, and like you said, Christy, about teaching yourself podcasting and a lot of that stuff. You're resourceful, like you'll figure it out,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I feel like, building this group up and kind of networking with each other, and everybody's in a different industry, but I feel like everything, can be compatible, right? We can all sort of help
Absolutely.
each other out, and everybody has, referrals, or just giving everyone that networking opportunity, or just to come into this group with like, hey, I'm struggling because, my
Right.
kids are crazy right now, and I'm trying to get all this
Right.
project done, and I can't. And that's okay, because
Right.
like we understand that, whereas you have other, places online that might not understand, and like, well, if your kids were in school, then you can, do this,
Yes.
or drop
Yes.
the project and just homeschool. You have groups,
Yeah.
we're sort of
Yeah.
like, not like, that's not the option for a lot of us that are in this group.
Right. Right. Exactly. I think that I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups, and I was pretty active online before it was all about Facebook or social media. And I do see that there are lots of special interest groups, and there's a lot of business groups for women. There's a lot of groups for moms. There's a lot of groups for homeschool moms. I just what made me jump into this group was the fact that these are people that understand the drive that I have to own my own business, to work this way, but
Mhm.
that homeschooling really is my priority.
Right.
This is something that I have invested in my family. I was a librarian as my second bonus career. I was working as a children's librarian when my daughter, like your child, was reading and reading to other kids in her daycare. And, they're calling me and they're saying, did you teach her? And I was like, no, I didn't teach her how to read. She taught herself how to read. And at that point, the dream of private Christian education was over. I knew I had to bring her home. I knew I had to teach her from home, because she was going to go at a speed that no school was going to be able to keep up with. And so I loved it. And then I started becoming like this advocate for homeschooling and saying, we've got to get our kids, to do this. This is exciting. I remembered I tapped into when I was a kid, and I loved to learn. My daughter loves to learn. She loves to go out and find things. And it just rejuvenated my interest in learning how to do something just because I loved it.
Mhm.
And so we have this, we have this business drive. We have this, we want to do this, but we also have this commitment to homeschooling. And I don't fit in most of the other groups
Right.
because it doesn't address both of those drives.
Yeah.
And so that's what's exciting about this to me. That's what gets me fired up, is that I want to give to a community where these are people that get me, that
Mhm.
get why I want to do this and understand my commitment to my child. And I have the benefit of just like Carrie does, of years of experience. I've been doing this now for 14 years with 2 kids. And I I want people to be able to say, hey, she gets it. She's working 20 hours a week. She's homeschooled 2 kids. What did you do when they hated science? And I'd be like, cool. It's very cool. You try these things,
Yeah.
you can try these things. Okay, but how do I do that when I'm still trying to take meetings with my marketing person, or, with someone else? And I'm like, well, there's lots of different options. This is what I did, but whatever you work out for yourself, it's going to be okay because you figure stuff out. You just do it. So that's what's exciting about this group to me. And that's why I don't do a lot of networking groups. I don't do a lot of interacting in Facebook groups. I love to speak about podcasting, but I've only given one other talk with Karen Logan, who I don't think Karen's a homeschooler, but she's in a Christian women's group and she's a fabulous gal. And I said, okay, I'll do it for you. But I don't do it because most of the time I go, I'm a homeschooler. I have my own business. I've been working at this for 3 years. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm never going to give it up. If it doesn't bring me a lot of money, I'm okay with that. But the Lord's placed me here and this is what I'm going to do. And they go, oh, that's really nice. And I go, well, that's who I am.
Boy, you hit the nail on the head. The more you two talk, the more I feel at home.
That's great.
I love it. To feel understood. You know, and when you're in one group, that doesn't understand the homeschooling, and you got another group that doesn't understand your business hat that you're wearing.
Yeah.
Often I would get told, you're just too busy. You're
Yeah.
so busy. I don't know, and well-meaning. I don't know
Of
how you do what
course.
you do, right? But you're just so busy. And I heard that word busy, 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 busy. But I'm loving everything that I'm doing. Like, what would
Yeah.
you rather me do? Sit on the couch? I'm loving every activity that I'm getting to do with my kids and all the field trips that we get to do. And I get to put them in this and I get to go with them to do
Mhm.
all of these things. And I just would get lit up with that. And then at the same time, wow, okay, I can do this and I can earn an income and I can teach my kids about entrepreneurialism.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I found through this journey too. Like, mom's got this event coming up on Friday, and you know what? I need some help doing this. Can you do this? And can you do this? And teaching them about how they can help me with it. My daughter would come with me to events, and I mean, it's a girly thing anyway. We're doing hair stuff. She loved it, and so as a way that I could use it with my kids, I could definitely do it for my family. That was my why,
Mhm.
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
why. And to
Mhm.
get understood in that field, like, yes, I'm busy, but you know what? I just got a full schedule. That's all that means. And,
Right.
and I love everything that I'm filling my schedule with, and
Right.
to do with my kids too. I have the energy for it. It's not like it's hurting me for it. In fact, it
Right.
lights my fire.
Right.
Who would it be thought of in anything in a negative way? So yeah, to
Mhm.
come here and to hear the understanding and then the support. I'm hearing support here, being able to share our business in other homeschooling worlds. You're not allowed to share about your business. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to
Right.
bring that up. This is just about
Right.
homeschooling. So, okay, but I really could use your support. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to serve my family and keep in this homeschooling world, but then not receiving support just made it hard to be there.
Yeah.
So it is great, and I love supporting other women in business. I used to hold events for in-person events back in Canada for other women in business, just trying to support their family and do their
Mhm.
best. So I love this space. Thank you for
Thank you.
creating it.
Mhm.
We have a late joiner. Hold on just a sec.
Wonderful.
Mm.
I can relate with that too. I'm on that schedule.
I feel like I'm late for everything. And I was never late before I had kids, so I'm like, it's definitely the kids.
Yes. Yes.
There's always one more thing you can fit in, right? My husband likes to be early, which is great to be early. That's a good practice too. But to me, I'm thinking I could probably fit one more 5-minute task in that time.
That's right. That's right.
Hi, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, no, so I don't know, because we're on Central Time, so I don't know if everybody was like, oh, it's 2 o'clock over here. So I wasn't sure if that was the case with you or not, but anyways, we're glad that you're here.
You bet. You bet. Welcome.
Can you
We
hear?
have-
Robin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay.
So it's just a
Okay,
little noisy. I'm by a window.
Sure. Where are you coming in from?
I'm Chicago.
Okay. Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
where are you ladies from?
Central Ohio here.
Okay.
And I'm from
Florida
Texas.
You said Texas and where else?
Texas.
and Florida.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice range. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay, so so we've kind of went around and talked about our introduced ourselves, talked about our families and our business. So go ahead, and you have the floor right now. Tell us a little bit about yourself and anything that you'd want us to know, and talk about your business and what you do and who you are.
Sure, sure. My name is Robin. And so I am, I have a 2-year-old son who is on a wait list for kind of a homeschool co-op situation. And so excited about that. But I am a work at home. I mean, I work from home. I am soon leaving my job. I'm a program manager at a training institute for therapists, and also own my own private therapy practice. And so that's pretty much what I do. So I'm excited to kind of transition out of my job and go full-time, be a full-time business owner. So yeah, it's exciting.
It is
It's a lot.
exciting.
It's a lot, but it's exciting. Yeah. So I have a bit more freedom to do more things like travel more and things like that. My husband just with his job also, so we just have just a lot more freedom. Yeah.
That's
Well,
wonderful.
great. That's great. So you just have the 2-year-old.
And I have a stepdaughter also. She's 8. Yeah, 8, but
Okay.
she doesn't live with us. So yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. So it's pretty much us 3 in our home right now. Yep.
Yeah.
You're planning to homeschool your 2-year-old.
Yes, yes.
You.
I know.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, and the thing is, my sister, I know people that have done it before, and so it seems they've made it seem very accessible. My sister has also done my nieces and nephews, and I just love the outcome because they are just like more than prepared. And just as smart as
Especially
a
if
whip.
you want to travel. I mean, that's a dream, is being able to educate your kids while you're on the road. It's fabulous.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited. I'm just really excited, and I like the co-op situation also because we can kind of also have the social interaction and like a bit of structure there. So it's kind of an ideal situation. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little more about your you said a therapy business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a private therapy practice. I opened it in 2021. Because I've been doing private therapy. I've been in other people's private therapy practices for a while. So I've been in private practice world for a while, but in 2021, I finally decided to step out and do my own and kind of pursue my own passions regarding the clients that I wanted to work with. Did that in 2021, and I have a couple clinicians that work with me, and we're kind of just expanding the practice. And so majority of the specialties that I work with are, I do a lot of couples counseling, and so couple and relationship attachment, parent-child attachment,
Okay.
stuff like that, and maternal mental health. That's
Mhm.
also another passion. And the clients that I work with, and just like transition, stress, anxiety, depression, things like that.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome. I love to hear that. And I feel like that is much needed, like in this day and age that we live in, where people are very stressed, and also like the mother, like you said, the maternal health. Like I don't think that mothers get the support that they need, especially in this generation. Like that's weird to
Yeah.
say because I'm not that old, but in this
No, but it
generation,
is
mothers
true.
don't get that same support that there was in previous generations when you had a baby and you had family around and all this love and support and advice and wisdom and everything, right? And a
Absolutely.
lot of young mothers don't get that nowadays, and so they're sort of just thrown to the wolves. And then when they're stressed out and the baby won't stop crying and they don't know what to do, right? So
Absolutely. And that was my experience. That was especially because I had my son right when shutdown just started, right? It was like March. So, that was when, they couldn't even have the dads in the room, right, for the
Right.
birth and things like that.
Wow.
Thank goodness my husband was able to be there. But we were just right there when it's shut down. And so it was, my mom had planned on coming, my sister had planned on coming, and everything shut down. And so it was like isolation, figure out this baby thing, figure out, and I was newly married, and it was just a lot. So I was like, it became a passion project really to kind of
Yeah.
get more trained in, um, with working with new parents and new moms especially. And so, yeah, that's really a passion of mine.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's what
Thank
you do
you.
is super, super important.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the fact that your son is 2 years old and you already know you're going to homeschool him.
I knew when he was in my womb. I was like, when I was pregnant, I was like, I'm homeschooling.
Yeah.
These schools are crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure are. Yeah, they sure are.
Same. That was same. And that was 16 years ago, but I felt the same way. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and it's only gotten crazier. He has friends that are in
Yeah.
public school, and I'm like,
Mhm.
horror stories. And just even on my worst day as a homeschooler, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I don't want, like, y'all need to all go to school, right? And then I sit there, who hasn't done that, right? And I'll sit there and I'll think about all these horror stories, and I'm just like, never mind. No, that's never happening.
Find another way. I know.
Not my baby. Mm-mm.
Yeah. But it's so hard. We were just talking about the support of this group, and the reason that we created that for homeschooling moms, because homeschooling moms are a different breed, right? And then when you homeschool and you're in business, it just takes it to another level, And so I wouldn't say there's not a lot of us. I feel like there are a lot of homeschooling moms in business, but
Yeah.
most of the time you either find one or the other, right? Like there's a lot of groups for entrepreneurs and business owners and women in business, or Christian women in business, right? But then, and then on the other side of that, you see a lot of groups and programs for homeschoolers and mommy groups and, all these different, aspects of motherhood. But there's not the melding of those two worlds, right? Where you're a homeschooler that's passionate about your children and their education and your family and your values, and instilling those, morals as a priority, right? But then at the same time, like, you're really passionate about your business, and you're passionate about like how you help others, right? And so I feel like all of us sort of have that in this group, that we have something that we're passionate about. Carrie's passionate about all this, cool natural living stuff that is super amazing. And then her husband has a business as well. Christy does podcasting for Christian women primarily, right? Women in business. And then I teach small business owners how to do their own marketing, right? Because my husband has a business, and so I learned by trial and error through that. And we have a story and a testimony about that. But the thing is that homeschool moms in business are resourceful, right? We're also like Carrie was just saying, we were the busiest people on the planet. But it's not that. It's that other people don't understand that about us. They want us to give up one or the other, and for a lot of us, that's not an option. We don't want to not homeschool our children or not raise our children as a priority, but we also don't want to not follow, our passions and the things that God's given us to do, right?
Right.
And so that's why this group is here, and we're trying to this is our first networking Zoom, by the way. So this is really great because I've done networking Zooms before where we started out and there was like one person,
Right.
So this is great. We had more people that were interested, but it might even be the time zone difference or, whatever, because I'm in Central Time. So we're doing that. And I know, Carrie, you're probably on Eastern Time, and Christy, you're on Eastern Time as well. Yeah. So yeah, this works a little differently, and you're in Chicago, so you're probably on Eastern Time. Yeah, all three of you on Eastern
Central.
Time.
No, I'm Central.
Oh, you're on Central. Okay, Chicago. That's right. I'm in Central Time. So but we've got a full gamut of like people all across the US, and I think we even have a couple of people in this group from the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
So that might work differently for them, but we're going to keep trying to have these weekly so that everybody can jump in, talk about themselves, talk about their business. And then we will also be able to like talk about like our struggles, you know, with the homeschooling or the business aspect, you know, and really create that environment of support for the homeschool mom in business. And particularly when I went into this to create this group about a month or so ago, actually, I think it's almost been a month. I had created a different group and I had a partner and we had developed this program and all this stuff. We had worked very diligently for a long, long time. And I was putting in a lot of hours doing that. Probably there was some weeks that I worked probably about 70 to 80 hours a week. It was insane. And I was homeschooling. So
Right.
yeah. And that was okay. Like I'm good for it, right? Like, I mean, when you're like have a project and you're like, I'm all
Right.
like, motivated and fired up and you're ready to go. And then you like know
Mhm.
that there's a stopping point and stuff. But that partnership came to an end and we had known each other for 5 years. So this was like sort of off topic, but had known each other for 5 years and had been friends and, you know, she was another Christian stuff, but it just came up that, you know, obviously I had other priorities. Like over the summer, my children were a priority, right? And the transition from us having moved from Tennessee, you know, kind of back to Texas permanently, and that I talked about homeschooling too much, and I was like, this is who I am. Like my youngest is 4. This is not going away anytime.
No.
And my office is like also a classroom, you know, so
Right.
like there's a whiteboard behind me and desks, you know, so I mean this is just who I am, and I feel like that should work very naturally and organically. And so after all that was said and done, I started thinking about it, and I actually talked to he's a pastor, but he runs a course on marketing, and I've known him for a long time. And I called him up and I was like, can I talk to you about this situation? And I, you know, told him what I was doing and everything. And he was like, I think that's your niche. I think that, you know, that kind of, you know, homeschoolers. And I was like, okay. So then I talked to Jennifer. Jennifer runs homeschooling moms of large families. So she runs this other group, right? And her and I like hit it, and we were just like, yes, no, there is this missing piece of homeschool moms in business, you know, where we're not really accepted in either I'd say in either world. Homeschool moms will accept you, but they don't understand the business part, you know?
Right.
And business people are not all about the family life and
No.
priority, you know, so it's like a different world. And so then we're like, you know what, let's just create this group and let's find other homeschool moms in business that we can develop support for, you know, and to just like have this networking group and have this, you know, where everybody's allowed to sort of like talk about their families and their businesses, you know, and everything. And so and we have a lot of plans for this group, but anyways, this is sort of where it's starting, but we're super excited for, you know, for you guys to be here. And Jennifer couldn't be here because she's prioritizing her family this week. And so they're fixing to go on a trip and everything. I was like, you do that. I love that, you know, and my family's like that. When we have the opportunity to travel and all that kind of stuff, we do, you know, and all of last year, that was my life, is traveling back and forth from Tennessee to Texas every 6 weeks. And so, and you know what, it was okay. Like, that was a season in our life that the Lord gave us grace to do that. And that trip is really short for me now. And my kids are used to it. And I actually teased my husband that I can make that trip faster with 4 kids than he can, you know? Mommy doesn't stop for every
That's right.
And my bladder's bigger than his.
Exactly.
But anyways, I mean, I love the fact that, you know, we're able to do life with our kids. This is our life, you know, and our son is very entrepreneurial minded because of me and my husband, you know, and so he has all these ideas for business, but he also enjoys working and putting himself out there. And so actually this week he applied for his first job. He worked a job in Tennessee, but he was doing construction, like concrete construction part-time. And so this is his first job with like a big company. It's a grocery store chain, right? That he'd have to clock in and clock out. It's a little different. And so he's super excited about that. And I'm excited for him,
Oh yeah.
and everything. But I feel like I think Carrie, you were saying that homeschoolers have an advantage, over, was it you that was saying that about your son with the robotics?
Oh, just the opportunity
Yes.
to have that, yeah, to have the opportunity to take a passion of his. And I knew nothing about robotics. I knew nothing, and here I ended up being this robotics coach. I'm used to find resources. When we've got a child that's passionate about this, we find a way
Exactly.
to make it happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then fast forward, that was, when he went to his post-secondary classes as a homeschooler, do you know he ended up being the go-to for all the other students? They all, for study time, they all wanted to sit beside him because he knew how to find the answers.
Yeah.
And he knew that if he taught it to them, like helped them coach them through it, then it would just solidify it back in his mind too. So yeah, and then to have his business follow him here years later, who knew that a homeschooling task back in when he was 13, 12 would become his lifelong job, or his career, and the company would be following him to Florida. It's just, yeah, homeschool testimony.
We just had someone join us, Renee. Hi, Renee. Hey, we were fixing to kind of close out, but we're glad that you
I
made it.
know.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you for coming. And, better late than never, right? This is the story of our lives as homeschool moms, right?
I'm just glad I got on. I was like, oh no, I saw the time and I'm trying to figure out the time change and all of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But I wanted to say hi and meet everybody in person.
Hi.
Hi, Renee.
Hello.
Where are you joining us from?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Hey,
How's the
neighbor.
weather there now?
It is beautiful today. Oh my, it is just beautiful. Yeah.
That's awesome. So we've sort of already gone around the room and
Sure.
talked about
I can
ourselves
watch
and
the
talked about
replay.
no. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and about your business.
Oh, sure. So I am a mom. I'm a wife and a mom. I do homeschool. And I used to run a special needs music business out of 2 locations, and COVID hit, and then I had to shut that down. So my plan B, I had been a Mary Kay director, and so my plan B became my plan A, and I just built my organization, and now we're in. We just earned our first pink Cadillac, so it was so fun and exciting. It's been such a blessing because I get to bless women and help them with their skincare issues and stuff. But not only that, but now I'm coaching and helping women build businesses and help give them some freedom, flexibility, some financial freedom, helping them to be able to just learn how to run a business and do all of that. And so it's been fun. It's nothing. I have a music degree. It's not anything like what I had thought I would be doing, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So that's a little bit
Great.
about me.
Wow.
Great. And how many children do you have?
2,
Oh, 2.
11 and 8.
Very
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
And have you homeschooled all along or?
Mhm.
Okay. Good.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's been a journey for sure.
Yes.
Especially when I was doing like all of the things. Like I was running my special needs business. I was doing Mary Kay on the side. We were restoring a 1920s home. I mean, like it was crazy, crazy. But here I am, and I'm still living.
It's just kind of proving Daphne's point, which was that, we have to be extremely resourceful and we're very like, go get it and get it done. And, finding the answers, finding the information. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We find a way, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anybody else relate? I don't like hearing no. You can't.
Yeah.
Right. Let me prove to you.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's like up to me, right? Like they're like, oh, you don't have time to do that. Watch me. I will pull a 3 a.m.er and prove you wrong. And it's not just that. I think that homeschool moms are just motivated in a whole different way. Like
Mhm.
we're teaching our kids to be very independent and work through, their stuff, right? We want them to overcome challenges and all that stuff. But I think homeschool moms, like by naturally, we do that ourselves, and it's not just something we teach them to do or that we want them to do, but we're able to like grow with our children character wise, right?
Oh my
And
goodness,
so
yes.
we're able to like implement that into our businesses and say, well, I can't really get on to him for not, doing his work when I put off my taxes for XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
we
right.
think that way. We do those things. And so, yeah, I feel like homeschool moms that are in business are the hardest working people. Just hands down, the hardest working people on the planet. Like we're the busiest, like Carrie said, but what would we give up? Like neither
Nothing.
thing. Now there's sometimes we need to prioritize differently. And I think there's a
Right.
girl in here that I'm gonna have a meeting with. She does like time management stuff and all that, and I love that.
Fabulous. Yeah.
But as far as like laying anything down, we're not going to lay our businesses down, but because a lot of those are our passions or things that we feel like God has given us to do, right? We
Yeah.
have a gift, we have our talent, we don't want to hide it under a bushel. But at the same time, he's given us our children, and those are like the arrows in our hands that we've got to like sharpen and grow, and so we don't really have a choice as to like what do I lay down, and there's not a lot of women in our generation that feel that strongly and that passionately about either of those things. A lot of times it's pick a lane, and I feel like homeschool moms are like, I want it all. We want the home life, we want the family life, we want, the children's education, and we want the career, we want the business opportunities, we want the ministry, we want, all of that. And so, I feel like if you look at Proverbs 31, that lady was a busy woman.
Yeah, she sure was.
She wasn't staying home like, what people have imagined in their brain. She was a very busy woman, and she actually did the Bible says she strengthened her arms, which means she worked out. And I'm not there yet, but she stayed busier than I do, and the thing is, she was in business, she bought land, she made her husband's name, and her children called her blessed. Like there was a lot of things. So if you study out Proverbs 31, that lady is not what we have in our minds as what a wife or a Christian mom should look like. She was actually very entrepreneurial and very like, she had a lot of leadership qualities that, within her family and within her community. And I feel like that's what this group, should be. So, or, we should reflect that, and, gather sort of more people like us into this group. There's not a lot of us, right? But there are more than what we think, there's more than what we think. And so just having a place to come to share all of that. So with that, it's 3:20. We've sort of ran over just a little bit, but I'm so glad we waited for you, Renee and Robin. Thank y'all for coming. And we're going to try to have these weekly, so they'll be at the same time every week. And I'll try to get the links up earlier in the week so that it should post. I think this will be the same link every week for now.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get it streamlined to where it's, we're just using a domain, but I haven't sat down enough to do that. And so, anyways, we will, like I said, have these weekly and invite somebody that that's in this situation. If
For
they're
sure.
another homeschool mom in business, or you feel like they would fit in this group, because this is basically what it's going to be, just sort of introducing ourselves, talking about the business, and then sort of going around, and there will be times where it'll be a little more dynamic, and you might have somebody coming in that's struggling as a homeschooler or struggling in their business and saying, I don't know what to do at this point or whatever. So we want to create that community.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thanks for
I will
having
post
us.
the replay probably either this evening or tomorrow. I'm flying back out to Tennessee tomorrow. But anyways, we'll try to get this up so that everybody in the group is able to see it.
Okay.
Sounds great.
to be here.
Awesome.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you all.
Great to
Nice
meet
to meet
everybody.
you
Nice
guys.
meeting you
Thank
as well.
y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.